Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're back with war vids. I can't promise I'm going to be doing one for every war this season. I'm just probably going to pick the fun wars, and I'm actually away towards the end of the season, so may not be able to do them then. But this was a fun war, and it really made me want to get back into making some war vids. So yeah, we're going to go for this one. I didn't know I was going to be making it when I started, so I haven't gone through my usual, this is the map, this is the path. So I'll just run through the fights quickly now. We're going to take a Zemo on the first section of Path 7, and then a QuickSilver. Then we've got a Hulk and a Doctor Doom on the second section of Path 5. Then we have a Jessica Jones on the Conflictor Hazard Shift mini. We've got Mysterio on Power Reserve and Falter. Then we've got a Sasquatch on Stun Reflect Polka Dot Power, and to finish off a Kindred boss. Also, I'm just getting over a cold, so if my voice sounds a bit weird, that is why. But in any case, on with the war. We have a new tactic, we have a new defense tactic. So yeah, we've got Kate and Cassie today, who are both that tactic. They're both going to have their own fights. And then we have my newly ascended Valkyrie, which I'm looking forward to using in some war. So this first fight, we're taking the Baron Zemo. There's a damage reflect node here, where after I throw a special, it's going to apply 2 debuffs to him, an armor break and a heal block, and then Zemo's going to cleanse them. Whenever a defender cleanses or purifies the debuffs on this node, they get a damage reflect passive for dealing 50% of the damage back to the attacker. That is bad. It's why I'm not using Valkyrie here. She does so much damage on her specials, it could take out all my health from one special and then a combo afterwards. So I'm going with Kate. I've gone for a power start 1 because I want to throw the first special one right away after this combo. That applies the damage reflect, but because Kate doesn't do too much damage on her specials, we're not taking very much back. No crits there, only got 4% damage back. So I'm just going to tap into his block to pause the cold snap, then I'm going to punish this special to do the same. I'm not going to use any heavies in this fight because I don't want to apply any debuffs and get that last cleanse gone. Then I would be rooted and that would be bad. But I got one more special one off. It crit a couple times, we took a bit more damage back, but Zemo is down, it's fine, use a potion, heal back up. Kate handles that fight very, very well. Next, we're going to move on to this QuickSilver. I've still got the power start 1. That was the main reason that I probably had this, because I want to get the evade counter up right away. One thing with QuickSilver when you're using Kate is that he can evade out of your first riposte. So that passive stun that you apply when you evade. He can evade out of it, and you've really got to be on your toes for that. Don't just assume that because it's a stun passive, he's fine. You've really got to watch out for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and intercept him at the start, or I'm just going to use the riposte and know that he's going to evade out of it. So we've got the power start 1. Once his evade is out of the way, we can be safe and just go for the special one. If he'd gone for a heavy at the start, I would have just punished and gone for the special one. That way the cold snap's up, and then we don't need to worry about his evade at all. I do take a little bit of damage from a whiplash that I knew was there, but I didn't want to, focus my energy on trying to shrug it off. I just wanted to make sure the fight was under control. Again, take a little bit of damage, heal back up, you're all fine. And next up, we're moving on to section 2. I just love how the new map lets you do that. You can just blitz through both of your path sections and you are absolutely fine. Even one full energy is usually enough if you wait a little bit. So yeah, we're going to heal Kate up, but we're going into this fight with Valkyrie. You could absolutely do it with Kate. I just felt a little bit more comfortable not relying on the slow. The tactic attackers do have a slow, but I didn't want to focus on that because, you could Dex and they could go unstoppable, or Hulk has his unstoppable in the base kit. I just wanted to get up to my Pierce and shut down evade that way. You will, however, see me be a little bit sort of tentative at the start of this fight. I wasn't sure whether refreshing the placebo buff would make him go unstoppable. So I'm just kind of feeling it out, and it doesn't look like it will. So then we get above 11 and we get our Pierce. So now he just isn't really an issue. I'm not really going to force the unstoppable. I know Valkyrie does plenty of damage on her own. So I'm just going to go for my L2 here. I know that if I throw a light after this special 2, there's a decent chance that he rushes in and I intercept him. If I don't, we'll just take him down with the protection up. It's really not that big a deal. Valkyrie has plenty of damage, and you saw that he did go in for that. And then we get another L2 off, and that just does a huge amount of damage. Valkyrie can take these fights with protection up the whole time. You don't need to force it. If it happens and it's natural, you're fine. So next up, we're going to go for Kate against this Doom. This was a little bit of a problem fight, maybe, but you've just got to watch out for if Doom nullifies your Dex buff. If he gets a shock on you, play passive, dash away, don't dash into him at all. Again, with the intercepts, if it happens and it's natural, fine. Kate does a ton of damage, even with the protection down. You see straight away Doom is very nice and lets us intercept him. So we don't have a power slot 1 here, but, with the riposte, with an intercept, a couple combos is enough to get you to your first special 1, and then the damage is just ticking. We get a shock on, and again, we're just playing away from him, letting him throw those heavies. And now that the protection is back, we're still ticking like 1% every tick. So this fight is well under control. We could do this entire fight with the protection up. That's why I'm just waiting for an opportunity where I can bait a special. He's not going to be on too much power. Then we're going to go for an intercept if he lets us. So here is a perfect opportunity. He's on no power. We dash back. He goes for it. And one more L1 and, he's just ticking down. Again, there's no need to force those intercepts. If you want to play it safe and slow, you absolutely can. If Doom's AI is being super annoying, then just ignore it. So I'm actually going to speed up through this next fight. And that's because not really anything happens. I literally don't throw a special in the entire fight because Jess applies some debuffs through the node here with the armor breaks. She ramps her investigation up a little quicker than she normally would, and that means that she reduces our ability power rate, and Valkyrie's hits into block gives her power through an ability power rate, so we don't get as much power throughout the fight. I haven't power started 1 to save some boosts. I know this is a safe fight, just need to make sure that Jess is backing off. But yeah, we just combo her the whole way down. There's nothing too special about this fight. If I'd known I wouldn't have got to my L2, I probably would have thrown out an L1. It's really to do with whether you shrug off that first armor break, because then it reapplies and then you're applying more debuffs. I also accidentally intercept a couple times and get bleeds on me, and then the armor break comes back. So it's still a very safe fight, but it was just a little slower than it needed to be, and she goes down without any real problem. So this next fight, Mysterio on the Falter and Power Reserve node. This was one of those that you really need to go into the fight with a plan. You can't just rock up, try your best, and hope that everything goes well. So I didn't want Mysterio to throw any L1s. In hindsight, it actually would have been fine because the tactic will stop the damage reflect, but at the time I just wanted to get into an L2. I am power start 1ing again because I want to be able to throw off 2 L1s before he even throws a special. That means that I can start the fight off with a couple combos, throw the L1, re-parry without letting him throw a special, go for another L1, and then hopefully that gets him to L2, bait out the L2. Hopefully I've got a heavy off at some point and I can punish the L2 without worrying about the miss. Even if you don't, you can still go in and punish. If you time it right, you can actually whiff against Mysterio's L2 and you'll be fine. And then the last thing you got to watch out for is the Falter whenever a buff expires off the defender, which for Mysterio will only ever be when the vigilance from you getting a bar of power expires. Keeping an eye on that timer, knowing when to throw a heavy or a special, or even throwing a heavy when you know you have the window, because Kate's heavy will apply the tracking debuff, which allows you to hit the opponent while you should miss. So that's the plan. Let's see how it works out. So we start off, we go in, we dash back, and we go for the full 6 hit combo, which I love to do with Kate. And then just before our 2 bars of power, we go for the first L1. I know that the vigilance is about to expire, so I'm going to re-parry here, go in for another, and I should have actually hit him a little bit more there. I didn't get him quite to 2 bars of power, so it means we need to bait out one more heavy before we could go for the L2. I get the opportunity to parry heavy, so I do. I know that the Falter's coming, and I have my tracking up, so we're absolutely fine. Bait out this other L2. I wasn't sure whether my tracking was still up in that brief moment of glancing up, so I didn't go for the punish. In hindsight, I would have been absolutely fine, but we played it safe, get a striker, get another heavy to refresh, and this fight is completely locked down, and Mysterio just ticks away. So very, very safe, quick fight for one that I was very worried about going in. And like I said, we could have absolutely just baited out the L1. I just didn't want to deal with that many specials. And at the time, like I said, I wasn't sure if Mysterio's damage reflect would get through. Turns out the tactic counters it. So moving on to this next fight. Cassie is unreal with this tactic. Every time we're immune to a buff, we get one of those pin particles, and the tactic applies buffs all the time. So we just have almost permanent poison. That means that I'm going to be ending with a light attack pretty much every combo. I'm going to make sure that I get my stings up if Sasquatch even plays into me. That was really annoying. And then here, I thought the Cassie whiffs were fixed, but apparently not. We whiff our special one and we take a combo, but this tactic is so fun that the rupture that is applied doesn't do any damage to us at all because we have the attacker tactic and we just end up willpower healing. I was a little shaken up after the whiff because I thought it was fixed, and we ended up taking a combo there, which was a little bit annoying as well, but another rupture, more willpower healing. The brute force is a little bit of an issue here, but if you play it right, you should be fine. So here I want to get back to my L1 because I don't want to throw an L2 just yet. We don't have a poison on at the moment, so we're not gaining any power, so I go for the striker and a combo. Now we're back on track, missed this special. Then we're going to bait out more. I get the timing a little bit wrong on that special one, and I dash in and let him parry me, but you know, Cassie is so forgiving in war. That taunt is just unreal, and with inequity, you know, we're taking 86% less damage than we should, and it makes Cassie fights where you mess up just easy. Really, really easy. So Sassy goes down and we are on to a Kindred boss. So Kindred is not that scary this season, if I'm honest. If you're using a tactic attacker, you should be fine. And with this tactic defense, you should really be using a tactic attacker because it is rough when you don't. Unless you have a specific, very powerful slow champion or someone like Valkyrie who ignores the unstoppable, or using a buff immune so that they can't get the unstoppable in the first place. You really, really want to be using a specific counter. So the reason Kindred just isn't really that scary this season is that his whole terror on defense is that degen, but it's a damage over time effect, and that means that as soon as we have 3 debuffs on the opponent, it does nothing. You're going to see in this fight I really, really mess up an L1 evade, which would normally kill me, and it's just fine. What I do love to do with Cassie is dash in and charge heavy to miss the special one like that. It feels, firstly, incredibly satisfying. Secondly, it means we don't need to take a blocked hit, save us a little bit of health. And there's where I mess up the special one. Then take a combo. And because of the tactic, normally in any other fight, this would have completely killed me. We've got 50 of the charges, we've got the degens locked in. I wouldn't be able to dash back and let them fall off, but because of the tactic, we end up healing from it. We took a combo, went down to 90% or something like that, and we're back up to 98 because of this attack tactic. It's incredibly strong. And Cassie is just fantastic for Kindred. The main issue is you really want to use a special when you know you can get back to another one if he's on low health. You don't want to be stuck in a situation where the root is going to kill you, and obviously in this tactic it would be hard to do that, but just for sake of argument, if you're somewhere else like BG's or something, you want to only throw that special one. Notice that I'm going to like 1.9 bars of power before I throw the special one. If I leave myself on 0 power, we could be in a really sticky situation. But I know that this next special one is going to take him below the 5%, so I've saved my special one. We're ready, we dex his mediums, and we go for an L1 to close out the fight in a very, very clean manner, considering that like I said, I feel like I'm going on about it, but in any other tactic we would be very, very dead. So yeah, that is the first war of this season. I'm going to be doing one definitely for the next war. I'll try and do as many as I can this season because, I haven't done them in a while. They are a lot of work, so I would appreciate anyone sharing or liking or commenting. It would really mean a lot to me and back up why I do the vids. I hope they're helpful, and please leave any feedback or thoughts, anything like that, in the comments below. One thing I will say is I can absolutely promise you a ton of Cassie gameplay this season, as long as people don't ban her. She is unreal and one of the most powerful tactic attackers. And with that said, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.